मैं अपने आप के लिए गिफ्ट खरीद रही हूँ। Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. If you are already familiar with me, if you're a subscriber and you know me, thank you so much for your support. I love you, I appreciate you so much. And I feel extra love this month with Valentine's Day coming right up. There are a lot of mixed emotions on Valentine's Day. But today specifically, I wanted to talk to my singles out there and share some advice for people who are single this Valentine's Day. I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, it's a holiday celebrating love. And just because you're not partnered up or, you know, romantically involved with someone, doesn't mean that you can't participate in the holiday, right? This is actually, like, you know what, this is one of those moments from Dil To Pagal Hai where Madhuri's like, मैं अपने आप के लिए गिफ्ट खरीद रही हूँ.
Very funny. पर तुम ये सब किसके लिए खरीद रही हो?
अपने लिए.
क्या?
देखो, मुझसे प्यार करने वाला तो कोई है नहीं जो मेरे लिए प्यारी प्यारी चीजें खरीदे. तो मैं खुद अपने आप को खुश कर रही हूँ.
पूजा, तुम बिल्कुल पागल हो गई हो.
So today, let's talk a little bit more about self-love and get right into the video. So this Valentine's Day, I am part of the single squad. I can definitely say in the past, sometimes I felt a little bit left out. Just when it comes to this holiday, I felt like, gosh, I wish I had a Valentine. I wish I had like someone that I could do all this lovey-dovey stuff with. And lately, I've been very at peace with my singlehood. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So, you know, I know the word self-love gets thrown out there a lot. I feel like self-love, 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 it gets said so much that somewhere along the lines, the meaning of self-love gets a little bit blurred or misconstrued. And here's what I mean by that. I think generally when we think of self-love, we think of like very external surface level things, right? Like maybe like a trip to the spa or like, you know, getting your hair done or taking time to yourself and just like doing all these different things. And yes, those are definitely part of self-love and those are things that I enjoy very much doing for myself. But I think self-love is a little bit more deep and it's not always as pretty as it's made out to be. I think true self-love is really about taking time to reflect on who you are. I think it involves figuring out your wounds and the scars that you may have gotten through your life and also taking steps to heal that. And it's not always an easy process. I'll tell you something that I've been working on. I've been able to stand up for myself in the past, but in certain situations, I would prioritize making sure the other person was comfortable or being agreeable to just keep the peace or keep the harmony. And I do still believe in keeping the harmony whenever possible, but not to a point where it starts to hurt you. And I think when it comes to relationships, that's a mistake that I see a lot of people making, right? It's like, yes, it's great to get along with someone that you care about, but it's also important to know when your boundaries are being encroached upon. It's important to have those boundaries and it's important to know what you're worth and what you know, I don't want to say bring to the table, but basically just knowing your worth, having that self-worth, having that self-respect. And I think sometimes how that happens is when you don't know yourself, you're not able to advocate for yourself. And so this is basically what I mean by self-love. I think self-love ultimately comes down to you loving, respecting, treasuring, and valuing yourself so much that you don't need to rely on someone else for validation. And you're also at the same time able to like maintain that distinction between wanting someone to be in your life and needing someone to be in your life. I hope that didn't sound confusing because it's like there's just, I'm speaking from my experience where in the past I've been in situations where I felt like I needed someone, and I stayed in very toxic situations because I didn't want to be mean. I felt like I needed someone and I relied on them for validation, and I felt like I could not possibly go on if I did not have a person's attention or affection in my life. And that just wasn't a healthy environment to be in. And one of the reasons that I am feeling so at peace this year is because I've undertaken this journey where I'm able to explore myself and figure out who I am, what do I stand for, what my values are. And I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to say here. It's, if you're single on Valentine's Day, even if you're in a relationship, honestly, I think this is something that everyone needs to do. It's really figure out, who are you at the core? What is important to you? What do you stand for? Figure that out. Get to know yourself. And I think once you know who you are, it's so much easier to to find what it is that you want or what's in alignment with you. Because many times, I think most relationships, the issues start happening when you realize that your values are completely mismatched. Or even if they're like slightly mismatched, but they're significant enough to you where they cause that rift between two people. So that's one of the things that I have been working on personally. A big part of knowing yourself involves obviously figuring out where your values are, knowing what you stand for. And also, even when it comes to like different things like love languages, like understanding that, understanding how to give love to someone, being a giver, not like always just thinking about yourself, but actually, giving love to a person in their love language, because that is how they understand you, right? So things like that, based on your standard of what you accept in your life is what you're going to receive. I think that goes for anything, right? If you set a standard, this is what I'm willing to accept and this is what I'm willing to welcome into my life, anything that doesn't fit that standard is just gonna fall away and you won't have to deal with it. Versus that's gonna happen. And then on the other hand, what is meant for you, you'll be able to detect it because you are very clear on what you want and you have your standards set. And I think boundaries help you in calling into your life what's meant for you. For me personally, one of my boundaries is I do not like being yelled at. I don't think anyone likes being yelled at, but I personally, even in like disagreements, I feel like I want to communicate, or I communicate in a very even, calm tone. And I feel like, let's communicate, let's talk about this, and let's figure it out. Sometimes there are people who just naturally yell, or they say abusive language, and that for me is a no-no. Like, that's not something I'm willing to accept. So, things like that, just like different boundaries, like communicating that, understanding that, and if someone does not respect your boundaries, walking away from that situation and letting that go. So I think that's a huge, huge part of something that singles definitely need to do. If you are on any social media site, I feel like there is a lot of just different things being said. And I think many people do project their limiting beliefs onto other people based on what they say. And this is not to negate anyone's experiences or to undermine anyone's experiences. I don't think you can attract good into your life if you generalize. And this is what I mean by that. When you generalize, all women are so-and-so, all men are so-and-so, all of these people are so-and-so. There's just no way that you can call into your life anything that's good because you've already made this judgment and this assumption about a certain group of people. I think a big part of self-love comes down to acknowledging, hey, here are some of the areas that I feel, or here are some of my beliefs that I feel are holding me back, and then figuring out what can I do to break this belief, to break this thought pattern, break this habit. Personally, what I tend to do is if I recognize that there's a belief that's holding me back, or if I sense, this area of my life is not going the way that I want, and this could be a belief that's holding me back from achieving that next level, in whatever area of my life, I try to find examples to disprove that. Because honestly speaking, if you are able to basically disprove whatever belief you have, or like find situations that are like the opposite of what you believe in, you're gonna start doubting that belief and you're gonna start creating uncertainty about that belief. And ultimately you'll start to realize that that's not a true statement. Okay, there's this beautiful concept I came across recently called kintsugi, and it's Japanese. It's a Japanese art form where broken pottery is put back together using gold. And the idea is based on the fact that by embracing your flaws and imperfections, you can build something even stronger and even more beautiful. And I really love that, right? Because the way that I see it, I'm someone who loves self-improvement, and I love striving to constantly be the next, you know, like the next level or the next best version of myself. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't love the journey of improving yourself, or you can't love where you are right now while striving for these incredible things. So that's another part of just loving yourself, embracing that you are you and really stepping into that. I really hope that you all have a very great Valentine's Day, and to my single people, just understand that you are amazing, you are so special, and just have faith. When the time is right, everything will fall into place exactly as it needs to. So thank you so much for watching my video, and happy Valentine's Day. Lots of love to all of you. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.